Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
It's me, Jabberjaw.
You know, the one
Over
only.
here is Skinny Squid.
Oh, excuse
We're
me.
going to be your hosts today.
I didn't appreciate that one.
Who the fuck says I was talking about you?
I see. Well, we gave Ethan another break this week. He's gonna come back, I think, next
Poor
week.
boy.
We're gonna,
Needs
and
a breather.
I know we talked about this, but I promise you, we're gonna watch Jumping Ship. It's gonna be next week. Nonsense too. But in the meantime, we have a friend of ours who's back from Germany. His name is Dakota. Go ahead and
How's
say
it going?
He ain't privy to the north or the south.
Right.
And so you were with what were you in Germany with? Was it like the army?
Yeah, I was in the army.
Okay,
Or,
okay.
Well, I'm still in the army, but
Yeah.
I was stationed there, and I'm
His
in the
term
army.
is not yet up.
yeah.
I just didn't want to say he was like, oh, he was in the military. It's like,
With such and such on the battlefield.
excuse me.
Hoo-ha.
it's like, actually, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like,
Right.
okay. But yes,
Called
okay.
ad-libbing, Ian.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to give false information right out the gate. You know what I'm saying?
No one's going to take this seriously.
So, and you were there for, you said 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
Just right at? Or was it like?
it was a little bit more. I was there for more like about 3 years and a month because I had to extend at the end for like an additional month because they just kind of screwed me over while I was there.
Nice. You got to love that.
Yeah,
No
right.
shame.
Well, so he has been Dakota over here has been a friend of Dylan's since they were children, little
wee lads.
little wee
It was-
lads.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was like elementary school is whenever we
Uh-huh.
first met.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
I remember, and I want to talk about this story just in brief detail because I'm going to start bringing back some memories when I start
Mhm.
talking about it. But
Right.
Dylan introduced me to Dakota, and of course he kind of introduced him into the friend group at some point where we all kind of started hanging out all together as a friend group, which was really cool. And then right as he got comfortable and started really fitting in,
Like,
he
psych,
joined
I'm
the army.
out.
Or I guess he was like,
See you later, fuckers.
you know, like finishing the process.
Yeah,
And then, of
I
course, we were like, oh, well, you're really cool. Let's hang out more. It's like, actually,
nah.
I'm going to Germany for like
Yeah,
4 years.
right.
Fuck that.
Right? Dude, and I remember because like what was it? There was one time I want to say it was about like a month maybe a little bit less than a month before I even left. My mom, she asked me because I told her like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go hang out with Dylan and the boys." And my mom was like, "Wait, you didn't ask them if their uncle's Victor."
Yeah,
And I
you're
was
right.
like- and I was like,
shit. Dude,
all right,
I
that's-
keep
I
forgetting
was like,
that
that's
that's
weird.
like everybody in our families knew each other
Oh,
at
yeah.
some point.
Right?
Small town
And-
vibe.
And then I remember, like, I completely forgot to ask, but your dad that same day came
Yeah.
up to me and he was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
is your last name Clicker?"
Exactly.
I was like, "Yeah," and he's like,
yep.
"You know Kevin?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my uncle." And he was like, "Yeah," because he was really good, like, because Victor and my uncle Kevin were like best friends, and I was just like,
What a small world, dude.
right, man?
That's crazy. But yeah, and so like right as I think as I was saying, he kind of got in the friend group. It was like you were moving out and going to Germany, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not so bad. It's
Yeah.
when you gonna be back, and it was like, oh,
Just the next 4 years.
or it was like I'm gonna come and hang out for holidays and whatnot like that.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Christmas and stuff. And it was like, man, it was. I mean, I think I've had friends that have been like that, but never quite like in that scenario
Yeah.
where it was like we started hanging out a whole
oh,
lot. We
man.
were like having like we had regular game nights and stuff and all
Mhm.
that, and then
Yeah, it,
had someone get shipped off. It was crazy.
It was so, like, it was really weird because like I got so used to the group and
Yeah.
hang out and just then like I went off to basic training and just
Gone.
everything was just
So different, I bet.
so different. But
What-
I kept in my head just having like the thoughts of like I'll be able to come back on holidays, be able to hang out with the guys
It
because
Yeah.
ain't the end.
like
yeah, exactly.
We'll find you.
yeah, right, because I mean. Think about it, man. Like almost every single time that I came back on holiday, I've came to
Oh,
see
man,
you guys
I
like
know.
at least once.
That was so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
There was a couple times where like it had. Not only did I have my own gallivant around, Canada in the time that you were
Oh,
gone,
yeah.
but it was also like, it felt like it felt long, but at the same time, it was like, oh, it just, it's only been a couple years and
Yeah,
it
it
like
just
that bad.
flew by.
Yes, exactly. So wait, what? I know I can't do basic math right now on the spot. So you left in 18, or was it 17? You moved, or you?
You're saying like when I went to
when you went to basic training.
that was 17, but it was like mid 17.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember because
that checks out because I think I lived in Canada for 18.
yeah, because
crazy.
Yeah, because I remember I think the first holiday that I came back in 18, you weren't here.
Yeah.
But you were here the next holiday that I came
that
back.
checks out. Man, those are some really crazy times. Okay, so here's the story I wanted to tell a little bit. It was after, I think we've mentioned this before on the podcast. Back in 2016, we had like a really bad flood that came through like the greater area we live in, and it was very devastating. So anytime you talk to anybody in this local area and it's like the flood or the flood of 2016, everyone's like, and just kind of shudders and quakes a little bit. And it was after that whole catastrophe happened, and like we all kind of banded together as a community that it was just before that, and then especially after that, like I know Dylan and I and another friend of ours, Chase, which again you've met if you've watched. For those of you who've been long time listeners of the podcast, I think we have a couple episodes with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's made a couple of appearances.
Yeah.
I wish he was on here more, honestly.
We need to get him over here. Get him over here. Mm-hmm. Chase, if you're listening, I'm talking to you personally.
Get your ass over
here. Get your ass over to my house right now. But we started having regular game nights at our local Barnes & Noble. They just had like a big cafe area.
My God.
Remember that pre-COVID days where you could just like have a whole band of Merry Misfits in just one area? It wasn't, what a simpler time.
Memories.
I want to say the first time I met you specifically, Dakota, was at one of those little meetups, I think. Or was I?
It had to have been.
Yeah, I think it was because I remember.
At least that's what sticks out for me.
Yeah, no, because I remember. I think it was back whenever I lived in the old house, if I'm mistaken. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he pulled me aside and he was like, "Hey, we need to go. I need you to come meet these guys. I need you to come meet these guys. We're gonna have a game night.
Trust me, it'll be worth your while."
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was like, we're gonna be having a game night. We're gonna be going to Barnes and Nobles, like
chilling out in the cafe,
just chilling out. We're gonna have
Munchkins.
Right, just like
dude.
That was the first game I played with you guys.
Really?
Yeah, fucking Munchkins. It was that dungeon one.
Oh man, we gotta play that game again.
I think, because all I remember whenever we played, like, we just solely played Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, dude, what a classic.
Dude, it was great. And
I missed that game so
I was
much.
so, like, whenever I, like, met you guys, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I did not realize I was just like, this is a group that I'm like, I want to be a part of more often.
Oh,
like,
man,
I want to hang out with so much.
And that's all whenever me and Ethan and Dylan had, like, were starting to hang out more often, because at the time, so Ethan's my younger brother, obviously. Ethan and Dylan were in school together. And so I think I even talked to you about this, Dylan, not too long ago. I was like, I felt like I had already graduated high school, and I was already kind of going on my own way. And some of the friends that I had in high school, I was kind of growing apart with just because we didn't have completely similar interests. But I felt like I was going to do you guys a disservice if you guys were going to, which again, because at that time, you and Ethan were graduating high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, as an older brother, I'm going to do you guys a disservice if I don't at least offer up my vehicle and then me as a chaperone to some degree, like get you guys out the house and we go hang out and we go do something.
Dakota, you were there for that.
Yeah, I was.
We were the photo op, the graduation photos.
Yeah.
And it was the graduation photos. I had my camera and we did some really cool.
Go back to that place, dude.
The park, yeah.
Yes.
It's a really cool place.
It was so nice.
But like, I forgot you were there for that. Actually,
Yeah,
that's crazy. I think I still have those pictures on that
he was
hard
fucking
drive.
rolling down the hills, tackling people.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh man, now I got to go pull up those photos at some point. But you'll see this in the Discord chat later.
Oh, dude, I need to see this.
But so I did like a little senior photo op for the guys.
Mm.
But it all boiled down to like if you guys graduated high school and just like parted ways, I felt like I would have done a disservice to you guys. I was like, you guys were such good friends, but you never really hung out outside of school. And I was like, let me just help you, if nothing else, just a point in the right direction and just go. Even if you have fun without me, that's okay. Just do your thing. And and it blossomed into something, and that's all I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a cool hangout where everyone was like, I just want to hang out with these guys. I just want to chill out. I want it to be cool.
The blood pact was sealed.
Exactly, and that's all it took.
Sons of old gods die.
I wouldn't say it was quite like that, but it was like that in spirit.
It is.
In spirit.
It is.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Altogether.
You're stuck with me now. Period. But anyways, how was your first few years in Germany? Just being like in a totally different country.
I'm not gonna lie.
Currency,
right.
all of it.
So I'm not gonna lie. The first year was just so weird for me. It was just like going from like living how an American does, to having to like transition into living halfway in between an American and halfway in between being a German.
Wow.
It was just ridiculous. And then like, thankfully, like there was a lot of people like in Germany. Like people are so kind. They're
really
extremely kind. Like a lot of people don't think it that much. Like because it's weird. Like people tend to think they're always angry. They're not.
Yeah.
Because they always look like they're scowling.
Yeah.
But it was something that I kind of learned over time was like, it's not them scowling. It's just like their way of like being curious about you.
Yeah.
So they're watching you. They're not like trying to stare or be creepy. They're just trying to watch you and understand what you're doing. Because that's just what they do. They're curious. But also like,
I like how you're describing Germans as like a separate breed of creature.
Well, I mean, again, to most probably American citizens.
Like I'm pretty sure, like to most Americans, like it would. Just be like
to most Americans, freaking Canadians are wild creatures that are this unknown species. I'm like, they're just people. Like,
they're just people. Like,
just don't worry about it.
Like, I'm not sure many people look into Germany, aside from the fact that we fought them in 2 world wars, and that's like the extent of their knowledge of the country.
Yeah, that's honestly what I think for the most part. Like what most Americans think of whenever they think of Germany, and like.
It's such a shame too.
Yeah, going there and actually like talking to them, like because most people have that like stigma because like they just got through high school. The last thing they probably learned about, like they probably didn't pay attention to the portion of the Berlin Wall,
of course,
and then like the only part that they paid attention to was like World War II.
Yeah, exactly.
And all
like,
that stuff.
Oh, this is where the Nazis came from.
And that's the thing. And it's just like,
oh dang,
like
it's such a fucking shame.
what a shame.
It's a complete shame because like Germany itself. If you're going there to travel, to get to like see Germany and get to see Europe, go there. Have fun. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I spottedly went to Berlin.
You were in Ansbach?
Yeah, I was in Ansbach. More specifically, the base was called Kaderbach.
Yeah.
But it was basically think it's like 2 miles. It was about like 2, maybe 3 miles away from like the main town.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like out in the middle of a farm field, pretty much.
Yeah, that's gotta be fun.
But Ansbach was more of like a college town, so like it felt more like whenever you go into the town, it felt like you were kind of going into a mall of sorts.
Okay,
like the main downtown.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, the main downtown actually felt like a mall because there was just stores lined up everywhere.
Yeah.
There was 2 churches in the middle of town. One of them was like actually like one that you can go in and have like a tour of.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. I got to see it like, cause, whenever I did my like host nation, which is basically like where they show you like the area around your base and everything, they try and get you like accustomed to the culture and stuff.
Yeah.
And they teach you a little bit of German as well, or they try to teach you a little bit of German. Whether or not you retain it or not,
it's up to you.
It's up to you.
It seems like a really fun language to learn.
It's
just to have at your disposal.
Though, thankfully, English is a Germanic language, so there's a lot of words that are very similar.
Okay, that's interesting.
So like, you can get the gist of it pretty easily.
Yeah, it's not like completely foreign to you.
Yeah, because like, here's a simple little thing that kind of proves it. Like, in English, it's frozen water is ice.
Yeah.
In German, frozen water is ice.
Nice.
It's just spelled differently.
Yeah, interesting.
So like normally if you sit there and you like listen to what they say sometimes you'll be like, all right, cool.
You kind of piece it together.
You can kind of piece it together.
Yeah.
Granted, you got to think of it kind of like the same situation of like with most people when it comes to English compared to Spanish. Like a natural fluid Spanish speaker will speak speak much faster.
Yeah, exactly. So you're
So,
like
like,
you
it's
have to slow down.
It's the same thing for
Yeah.
German. Like they talk really fast. Also another fun fact is like the dialect is different between North and South Germany.
Yeah.
So like
Just like with most countries.
yeah, like
it's
with most countries, yeah, like the dialect kind of separates. And well, actually, I don't remember if it's north or south or east or west. I can't remember. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I want to say it's actually north and south.
What are the differences between the two?
I honestly can't remember because like I didn't really talk very much with like any Germans up in north. I think the furthest north I went was Berlin, but I was only there just to like sightsee. Like I wasn't talking to anybody. Like if I went to a store, or not a store, if I went to a restaurant, like I just kind of like sprachen Sie English.
Yeah.
And like do you
said your little bit.
Like do you speak English?
Yeah.
And normally they yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love it whenever they say a little bit because
it's
then
like
they'll say-
it's another.
like well no it's either they honestly don't know very much
Yeah.
or like they're entirely fluent in English.
Really?
Right.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
There's no gray area.
Yeah, there's no gray area. It's
Wow.
really
It's
funny.
like
'cause,
finding a
like,
fucking elf.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, it's so funny,
Wow.
right? So like, I remember one time I was trying to find this one spot in this town. Like I was looking for a tattoo parlor because I had a friend that recommended the parlor to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. He kind of gave me some bad directions on it, and
Of
I
course.
didn't feel like looking it up on my phone. So I was
Yeah.
just like, you know what?
I was just walking around.
Yeah, I was just
See if I
walking
can find
around,
it.
Yeah.
and I was trying
If
to
you
find
hit
it
the
on my
big stump, you've gone too far.
Well, no,
Yeah,
the thing about the town is like it's very small and it's very compact. So
Yeah.
if you walk around, eventually you'll find
Yeah,
it.
exactly. You can't
So-
get too lost.
Yeah, so
You'd hope.
I remember it so clearly. I was walking one time, or I was walking that day, and I had a feeling that I was like close to the area, and then I saw this this like middle-aged German guy. He was really nice.
Yeah.
I waved him by just so he can so I could talk to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, hello. And I was like, hello, sprechen Sie English? And he was like, a little bit. And I was like, do you know where this store is?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, man, it's right down there. You take
a
a
little
left.
bit, he says.
You take a left at the intersection, and then you
like, oh, nah, bro.
like,
Like,
whenever
whenever
you
over
see
there,
it-
take a right.
like if you see the red light, you've gone too far. And I was like,
Excuse me, sir. A little bit, my
a little
ass.
bit.
This guy is like, he's like a German speaker through and through. He's like, you speak English? Like, just a little bit. He speaks the perfect Queen's English.
My God.
Nearly but 3 miles down the road.
Yes.
Like, oh man, what the heck?
But
Wow.
don't get me wrong. Like, I say that like the overwhelming majority of Germans.
Mhm.
Well, first of all, Germans love Americans. Like,
Awesome.
like Americans, they love.
That's nice.
Yeah.
American soldiers in the town that I was in, a little
Oh.
bit spottily.
Yikes.
Like, so there were some
Discrepancies, yeah.
discrepancies. I remember one time I was outside. I was outside smoking with one of my friends back over
Yeah.
in Germany. His name is Etienne. I always called him Jean because he was Haitian and he went by Jean or Jean.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting outside. I was smoking with him, and then we had another one of our friends come outside, and we were just sitting there smoking in this parking lot.
Yeah.
And this parking lot was set up where there was a fence, and on the other side of the fence was the main road.
Yeah.
That you would take to go to and from Ansbach or like to go towards Nuremberg,
Yeah.
which you ever get the opportunity to go to
man,
Nuremberg.
Nuremberg.
Oh, Nuremberg is
Dude.
amazing. But we were sitting there, we were just smoking, chilling, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, we hear this car start to slow down going down the road. And they scream, "Go home!"
Oh yeah.
out the car.
Mm.
And it was a bit fucked up.
Like,
I'm
I
not
would
gonna
if
lie,
I could, buddy.
I'm not gonna lie. But the most innocent thing that I ever heard in my life, mind you, Jean was not what you would say as a normal, like, innocent guy. He had his moments, but he wasn't an innocent guy by any.
Yeah.
He was a ladies' man through
yeah.
and through.
He
Like,
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But I heard the most innocent phrase come out of that man's mouth after that, and he was like, but I am home.
Oh, man.
I was like, Sean,
Damn, dude.
no.
Damn, dude.
I was like, Sean, no, that's not what they meant.
Yeah.
He was talking to me.
What a sweet summer
I
child.
was like, and he was like,
Yeah.
like it dawned on him, and he was like, oh, well, fuck them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Dude.
my God,
And
Sean, I love you.
Because what's like, isn't there like a protocol for like you have to be in uniform outside of the, or what is that? Or what's
Okay, so how it works is like if you're a U.S. soldier, you can't be in uniform outside the base.
Okay.
You can be in uniform on base, like, and you can be in uniform if you're going in between bases.
Okay.
But if it's like a weekend, off-duty hours, and you decide to go in town, no uniforms. Like,
Okay.
you are strictly just
Casual.
wearing civilians, stuff like that. You're like, you're
Okay.
not like wearing like me, where I'm wearing just like
Whatever.
joggers, sweaters, something like that. I would not wear anything like this hat that
Yeah.
has my army stuff on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But like you would just go out like looking like you're going out on a
Regular.
Friday night just to go drink or something.
Yeah.
Casual.
So, and how does that apply for? Does that apply for here as well?
No,
Because I've seen like people.
yeah. So here in America, yeah, soldiers can go to and from. They can do whatever they want in uniform. Like
Exactly.
that's a different story. Like the only reason why there was a different story is because it's kind of like they didn't want you to be a target.
Of course.
Because like that's
That
the
makes
whole
sense,
point.
yeah.
Because if you go out in uniform, and especially if you're in uniform and you're by yourself,
Yeah.
then you can be a target. Granted, that doesn't mean like they're thinking that the German like any Germans
Yeah.
are gonna do it. They're just
But let's not make
Because
any. Let's not give any ideas.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was more of like because that was a big thing around like terrorism and stuff like that.
Oh,
'Cause,
really?
like, if a soldier goes out, then they know that like, oh hey, soldiers go here more often.
Yeah,
Even though it was
exactly.
funny because you could throw a stone
Yeah.
in that town and you could hit a soldier.
Oh man, that's funny.
But
Yikes.
it was funny. But
yeah, I figured that was how it worked for like in the country. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're a U.S. soldier, you can dress in your your uniform and whatnot, and you're probably fine.
Mm.
I wasn't sure about that.
I
if it
would
was like
I would laugh entirely if I saw someone walking around just in their dress uniform, just like wearing a suit and tie, just walking around in their dress
Yeah.
uniform, going to Walmart. I'd be like, what
What are
is
you
wrong with
doing?
you? Why are you
Yeah.
doing that? Like I wouldn't do that in my life. Like I'd be too scared that I get something scuffed. Like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. I want to dirty this up.
Yeah, right. Like that, my uniform stays either inside my suit carrier or it's hung up in my closet, like at all times, unless I'm taking it to the dry cleaner or I got some formal event I got to go to. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, man.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
Whenever I like the first few things that like whenever I moved to Canada, so I lived in Canada for a year and a handful of months, I think. And I believe I've told this story in the podcast in detail, like before at some point. But like a few things besides the weather, obviously for me, was like the culture, because the Canada, in my personal opinion, at least where I lived at, was just America enough to feel like home, but it was just like United Kingdom enough to feel like I was in a foreign country, because everything was the Queen, everything was like
God save her.
oh,
right.
long live the Queen, long may she reign. And it was like a thing like I really enjoyed my stay there, and it was really cool because I was going there for obviously for like work reasons and personal stuff. But I don't know. I have a certain fondness for Canada, and everything from their currency to just the people, very laid back people. I think that's why they get told, or they get people assume they're so nice.
They have a reputation.
I think it's not that they're inherently nice. I think it's that they're more laid back, and it makes them seem more nice.
Yeah.
In stark comparison, I can't speak right now. In stark comparison to just like an angry chip on their shoulder American, it's like just
Right.
I'm late always, even though I'm not going anywhere.
I've got somewhere to be, even though
and you're in my way. Whereas like Canadians are like, I'll get there when I get there, and it's like you're so
God,
nice,
that
and it's like
sounds so amazing.
yeah. Like I said, now
I wish everybody had that mentality.
I'm generalizing obviously because of where I lived at, but like I have so many stories about all kinds of stuff from
Right.
But yeah,
There's a difference between being in a rush and having an emergency.
oh yeah, of course.
Everybody acts like they're having a fucking emergency.
It's
but
like the
just in a
boy who
rush.
cried wolf for me.
So-
like I can't tell if you're actually in a panic or not.
Right. So like on that same note, kind of similar, like when it comes to Germany. So Germans are like, they tend to be more like, like they move with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like they will, if they got a plan, they're doing it. Like they will do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it
nothing's getting in my way.
Yeah, like nothing's getting in my way. Like
yeah.
So like if normally like it's not really like it's not a law, but it's just something that's kind of understood. Like you know how like
social norm.
Like whenever you're driving, right, and like especially here, if you're not passing, you stay on the right side.
Yeah,
that's the same kind of premise when it comes to just walking.
Oh, really?
Like walking, like it's not a law. It's by no means a law. It's just
but
like,
everyone follows it. Though.
Yeah, it's just like
an understood.
It's like a social norm. It's just like, and that was something that I found so weird when I first came back and I walked through Walmart.
And there's just people everywhere.
Like, there was just people walking everywhere. It was just chaos.
And you're like, what is this hysteria?
Like, what is this? What is this madness?
Exactly.
It's just like, because like think of like the aisles, like you know, like if you're walking down like where the food is, right? Mm-hmm. And like normally they have like those little dividers in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And you have like I would say the left and the right lane.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
right.
You would, like my brain instinctively, because I've been in Germany for so long, it's like, all right, go down the right lane, and then I just see a motherfucker walking towards me while I'm in the right lane. I'm like,
bro, what are you doing?
Like, I'm gonna fight you.
Stay in your lane.
Why are you breaking the laws?
Why are you breaking the rules,
bitch?
But yeah, no, and it's just like a little weird thinking about like that kind of culture, and then like again, like whenever you were talking about like how they talk, like they're a little bit more laid back and stuff, like. Because Germans tend to speak a little bit more with like a purpose.
Yeah.
So it normally sounds like they're angry.
Yeah.
They're really not angry. They couldn't give a shit whether or not like whether or not it affects you or not. Like
tone is
as long as it's
inconsequential.
Like it's as long as they get their point across or they're getting what they need to get done, like they don't really give a fuck what you think.
I have had full-on conversations, and I learned a lot of Russian from two people in particular, and that is one of those languages that no matter how politely you try to make it sound, it sounds so aggressive. I was talking to this nice, sweet lady. She's so nice, and when I tell you, she was like speaking Russian, and again, like I said, from what little bit I know, I was speaking Russian with her, and she was talking about some stories and stuff, and man, I was just like listening to the language, and I was like, man, this is just an aggressive language.
Yeah.
We're talking about just casual, like, public transit to work, and it's just like
my daily commute.
Yes.
Turns into my daily fucking
it's crazy.
murder session.
Dude, and I can speak, like, I've also had a similar situation, because, like, I used to be in a relationship with, I'll say a quote-unquote Russian. Not really Russian. It was a Kazakhstani.
Yeah.
But they speak Russian.
Mm-hmm.
And
that sounds fun.
Yeah, right. She was born in Germany, but her parents were both Kazakhstani.
Okay.
So she spoke German, Kazakhstani, and English.
Wow.
And Japanese, because she also spent some time in Japan.
Isn't that nice?
That's amazing.
Don't praise her too much. This is the one that cheated. This one cheated on me.
Yikes.
This one cheated on me, and also
What a
like
bitch.
mentally and physically abused me.
Yikes.
So I
Heel
was just
turn. It could complete 180.
right? So
Fuck
don't
this
praise her
bitch.
too much.
Yeah.
But I find it funny because I keep thinking back about like the difference between the conversation between her mom and her dad, where you know, like in most normal situations, whenever you're dating these parents' daughter, right?
Yeah.
Normally the mom is the one that kind of likes the boy.
Yeah.
And the dad's the one that's a little bit more like stern, like, oh, you're dating my daughter.
Don't mess with my daughter.
Don't mess with my daughter.
Right.
Yeah. At least for us Southern boys, it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this situation, it was reversed.
Uh-oh.
So her dad loved me.
Wow.
Like, because first of all, he knew that I was a soldier.
Yeah.
So he was trying to learn or perfect his English.
Mm-hmm.
So he used me kind of, I say used.
Yeah.
But he kind of like
He took pointers from you.
To an end.
He took pointers from me, and he kind of just had casual conversation with me so he can perfect his English.
That's awesome.
I was completely okay with it. I was so happy about that because I was like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, because he was by no means a young man. He was probably in his ripe 50s.
Wow.
Like he was an older guy, and he was still trying to learn English, like
That's
perfect
awesome.
it. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Her mom.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Her mom. Think of like babushka, like
Yeah.
the little cowl thing.
Yes.
Yo,
Like
dude,
she was
straight
starting.
up?
She didn't wear it, but like she was getting to that point.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you could
man.
tell she was about to get to that point where she was starting to wear a babushka.
Yeah.
I met one of her grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, like super
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
And her grandmother did wear a babushka, and I was like,
Yeah.
I love this. I was like, I love this. This is great.
Again, I'm getting so cultured.
Right. But her mom did not speak a lick of English. Like the only word that I ever heard out of her mouth that was English was that she said thank you to me once.
Yikes.
That was it.
Oopsie daisy.
But
That's fucking scary.
But other than that, like she would my girlfriend at the time, she would constantly tell me like how like she's still like she was always skeptical of me.
Yeah.
And like she didn't trust me at all because I was a soldier, and I was just like I was kind of skeptical about that too, because I was like, wait, why does she not trust me?
Yeah.
I haven't given her a reason not to trust me.
Mm.
Lo and behold, I found out that it's because
She liked to date other soldiers. Oh, I see.
She told me that I was the first soldier she ever dated.
Yikes.
I should have realized that was false.
Oh,
Damn.
Yikes, dude.
So while I was in a field, what ended up happening is that she ended up sleeping with another soldier that was on base.
Oof.
Whenever I was in the field.
Oof.
So and that
That whole,
just kinda
that shit
fizzled.
show.
So
How
I was
Like,
I was
that's
like,
it.
all right,
Alright.
cool.
yeah.
We were still cool for a while, and then what was it? First of all, I didn't know at the time that she cheated on me.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know at all. She just broke up with me because she was like, things just aren't the same anymore, and like we were drifting apart, and I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I remember one time there was this hookah lounge because I smoke and I drink, and
Yeah.
I'm a degenerate. It's fine.
Yeah. It's
But
fine.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But I was there, and she lived like walking distance from this place.
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking that night. I just went there to go smoke. But she said that she wanted a friend there. I was like, all right, cool. So I went there. I was smoking. She was drinking. She was drinking a lot, and she occasionally hit my hookah. And I was sitting there smoking a cigarette too. She was completely wasted, and she was saying like,
yikes.
Ugh.
she was saying, I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. Mind you, technically, well, we weren't allowed to have like overnight visitors like in our barracks.
Yeah.
Did I follow that? Never.
So naturally,
Big no.
Yeah, big no. But I still I normally for her and for most other people that I would have slept with at the time, like it was just whatever. I don't care. Like if it happened, if I get caught, I get caught. I don't care.
Yeah.
What's the worst they're gonna do for me? Kick me out?
Oops.
But I never got caught. But what was it? So I brought her to my place or into my room, and I let her sleep in my bed. Mind you, my bed is like a fucking twin size. It's like a twin size, so it's just like there's not really much space, and
may as well be a freaking
Yeah.
like what is it what's it called, like a whenever you're camping.
Oh, a sleeping bag.
May as well be a sleeping bag.
you forgot what a sleeping
I'm
bag
sorry, I forgot what a sleeping bag was, dude.
But yeah, so it
I
was.
kept thinking camping bag, and I was like, that's not what it is. I was like, what the hell's it called?
But yeah, like so, I let her stay
curl
over.
up in my freaking campfire
Yeah,
bag.
let me just stay in my camping bag.
I love
But yeah, I let her stay the night. And I remember I woke up before she did, and I kind of like nudged her away because it was like where I was sleeping. The light would still like shine into the room.
Yeah.
Because of the sun, because the sun was starting to come out, and like I had like some like blackout curtains.
Yeah.
So like I kind of like moved them a little bit so it would start bringing some light into the room. And I was like waking her up. I was like, hey, do you want me to go like get breakfast or something, or like do you want me to make you some coffee? The first words out of her mouth that morning was, whenever you were in the field, I fucked another guy.
No, kidding me.
Get out of my house.
It was
okay.
It
don't know
was
who you-
8 o'clock in the
I don't
morning.
know who the hell you think you are.
It was
like,
8 o'clock in the morning.
If I wasn't awake before.
I don't know who you think you are, but I'm about to tell you who you actually are.
It was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god, dude.
You now have
did not fall
5
asleep.
minutes.
I
to
did not fall
evacuate.
asleep until 3 o'clock
Yikes.
that night because she was restless.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to hold her
Yikes.
while she fell asleep.
What the
Mind you,
fuck?
she was asleep,
Yeah.
but she was just wanting me to hold her during that time frame.
So okay, so like
Gross.
how does how does your barracks work? Do you have like individual rooms? Is
So,
like a house?
It's different. It's different here than it is in Germany. In Germany, or where I was specifically, it's different in Germany too.
Of course, yeah.
Where I was specifically, it was one person to one room, two to a bathroom. So
okay, cool.
So that it was 2 rooms, 1 bathroom connected, and then that was how it was set up here.
Yeah.
And a few other bases, or a lot of other bases in Germany as well. It's 2 to a room, 4 to a bathroom.
Wow, interesting.
So, that's why whenever I get to Kansas, I'm trying to find a reason to not live in the barracks and live somewhere else, like live in an apartment. Speak of the devil. But going back onto it, she after hearing that,
yeah,
I just stopped. I froze for a second. I was like, because I still had a little bit of sleep in my eye.
Yeah.
I was still a little tired. I was like,
maybe I heard her wrong.
I was
like,
that again.
Maybe I'm dreaming.
Repeat yourself,
please.
Again, please. And she was like, he actually lives down the hall.
Oh God, don't!
From
my
you.
God.
And I was like, oh no, she didn't say down the hall.
Yeah.
She said in the same building as me.
Yikes.
So that could have been either upstairs or downstairs. Upstairs meant it was an NCO, so a sergeant.
Yeah.
Downstairs meant just another Joe.
Yeah.
Anyone like the same rank as me or lower. And I was just like, all right, cool.
Help me
get out.
Yep.
I was just like, get out.
Just get out.
And she was just
absolutely get out.
She was like, what? And I said,
The fuck
you heard
you
me.
mean
Get out.
What?
I said, get out.
I just stuttered.
You just told me you cheated on me. Get out.
And so
I don't know what kind of
I remember,
pleasantries are expected.
Does that
now.
mean something different where you come from? Like, what are you talking about? What?
So I sat there and I was just like, all right, cool. Well, first of all, she was just like, well, how am I going to get home? Mind you, because she lives in Ansbach.
I don't give a fuck.
She lives in Ansbach. So she lives pretty deep into Ansbach. And so I was just like I looked at her dead in the eye and I said, you obviously know other people.
Yeah.
Go
make it
ask
happen.
them.
Why don't
Go
you
ask
just
them
ask
for
one
a
of the
ride.
other fucking
Yikes.
dicks you ride to give you
Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa.
Christ almighty.
But
Damn, that burned from all the way over here.
right.
It's like, how am I going to get home? That's a good fucking question.
But
So like, and you were on like in those barracks like the whole time you were there.
Yeah. So I had to move 3 times, or well, 2 times, between different rooms and like different buildings.
But it was all kind of the same place though.
It was all pretty much the same. Like the layout is typically the same. Towards the end, we ended up living in what was previously a medical barracks.
Wow.
So like it was intended for like people that were injured.
Yeah, of course.
But obviously, if you're injured, like normally it's fine.
It's like, it'll be all right.
Well, no, because normally if you're
Okay.
injured, they just kind of like if you got like a broken leg or something, they'll like, all right, cool, like you're not doing anything for like X amount of time. Like
Exactly.
you can go chill in your room. Just
Be
people,
careful, please.
Like people will bring you food. Like
wow, really?
yeah. So like especially whenever you're quarantined, right? Because we had quarantines, and then we had what was it? Restricted on movement. We called it ROM.
Yeah.
If you're on ROM, people brought food to you.
Yeah.
Like whenever I get to Riley, so I guess your podcast knows I will be in Fort Riley.
Yeah.
In Kansas, now. So.
And again, just in case I didn't preface this before, we're doing this whole episode obviously because again, he's come back home. We're getting to hang out. We're having a good time.
But
and of course, but not for long. He's by the time you guys are listening to this, he is packing up his bags, or I think has already packed up his bags and is on his way to
Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah. So like around that time frame, I'll be probably heading towards Texas because I'm going to be meeting. Well, I'm going to be meeting friends that I made in Germany because, like,
that's cool.
Fun fact, for anyone in this podcast that's interested in joining the Army, I will tell you, if you do it, I promise you, like, if you find a job that you love, I guarantee you will find real family. Like, I do not kid you. I was so surprised that I would meet people that like meant so much to me. Like it actually felt like I was a part of a family.
That's awesome.
Because like these were actually guys that like I'm not a combat MOS. Like I'm not a combat job, but I would put my life down on the line to protect these people.
Yeah.
Because like they just matter so much to me.
And
same goes for you guys. Like that's part of the reason why I do this. Is just like,
of course,
I care about you guys and like enjoying like podcasts like this. It's,
I love this.
It's great that because I know that I'm doing my part so where like we can have the freedoms to be able to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I know some people aren't as appreciative of it. Yeah. I've told Dylan many stories about like situations that I've had in the past. I'm not gonna harp on it right now because like that's
don't want to be a downer, but I understand exactly what we're talking about.
Just to preface, he did say he was not a combat MOS, but people have had the gall to call him a fucking baby killer.
Oh my God, dude! Please, Lord forgive me. There's like
easily the worst one,
dude. I don't know all the details of all that kind of stuff. I don't even claim to understand all of it, and I know that's probably to my own detriment to some degree, but I still appreciate all the hard work and stuff that goes into every branch of the military and all the stuff that goes into all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I may not understand all of it, and I may not agree with everything in it, but so help me God, I'm not going to take for granted the freedoms that I do have.
Oh, indeed.
And all the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to get here. It's like, I don't want to, again, like I said, we don't want to be a downer, but I understand exactly what you're talking about. Those people who take, for granted.
People who just don't know.
Oh, man, yeah.
So I'll just say this.
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful for the people that do understand that.
Yeah.
Aren't they great?
Like, it's amazing. Like,
basic empathy at work there.
It's, so I'm one of the people that, don't get me wrong, I do like hearing whenever someone tells me thank you for your service.
Oh, of course,
but the thing is, for me, is like I'm a little bit more uncomfortable about it because first of all, there isn't really a response back to it. That it isn't smarmy.
Yes,
like,
of course.
There is a
oh, thank you.
No, well, it's not like that because like we have a running joke. Like it's more of like whenever someone says thank you for your service and like you can tell it's disingenuous. Like they they don't really care.
Yeah.
You just say
habit. Not
you just say thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
Because taxes.
Exactly.
Taxes.
No, oh, man.
But what was it? I had one time. It was one time. The first time that I ever actually had someone truly show like how appreciative they were.
Yeah.
Because I was leaving AIT. And I was going to Germany for the first time.
Yeah.
This was my last interaction with someone that was not like a flight attendant or something like that.
Yeah.
Which even the flight attendants going to Germany, they were all Germans.
Of course.
Well,
so this is like your last interaction.
Yeah, this was my last
U.S. citizen.
Yeah, this was my last interaction with like a U.S. citizen, minus like the terminal, like going to get the tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember because I was panicking, man. Like. This is my first time, like, actually going, like,
dude, yeah.
Like, I was going to be 5,000 miles away from home. I was terrified, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was shaking. I didn't have my flight wasn't until, like, about, like, 6 o'clock at night, like, or, like, 6 p.m. Like, it wasn't until later in the day. And they chartered me to have a taxi.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought that I was gonna have to pay the taxi, but that's towards the end. But they chartered me the taxi, and I woke up, and I saw that I was, like, the taxi was supposed to get there at about like 9ish, and I woke up and I saw it was 9:30. I was panicking.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was super panicking, and the reason why I woke up was because I was getting a call.
Yeah.
And I missed the call, but then I looked and I saw. I had text messages, and it was from the taxi driver. And she was like, hey, this is such and such from this cab company, wondering if you were ready for me to pick you up. Mind you, I was ready. Like, I packed everything the night before because I was stressing. The reason why I was asleep until like 9:30 was because I didn't fall asleep until like 2. Like, I didn't fall asleep until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Because I was packing, I was making it so where whenever I would actually leave, like whenever the morning came, I could just grab my stuff and go. So I just grabbed all my stuff. Like I had 2 duffel bags. I had my backpack on, and I had like another bag on my front.
Yeah, you were ready to go.
I was sitting there running out of these barracks, like all this stuff, and I saw the lady was right there. She just sat there. She waved me over, and I was just like, all right, cool. All right.
Thank you.
And I was just like, oh, thank you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, it's fine, love. And she was like, here, I'll help you put it in the back. I was like, no, ma'am, I got it. Just open up the trunk and I'll put everything in. Don't worry about it. So along the drive there, it was about like maybe 45 minutes to an hour of a drive there.
Mm-hmm.
This lady, she could see that I was shooken. Like I was sitting there, like my legs were shaking. Like I was sitting there, I was fidgeting a lot. Like she could tell, like, and I was sweating. She could see all that, and she was just like, "Is this your first time going far away from home?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Louisiana." And she was like, "Oh wow, you're already pretty far from home."
Yeah, where were you at that time?
I was in Virginia at that time.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, "Oh wow, so you're already pretty far away from home," and I was like, "Yeah." But she was like, "Where are you going? You're going to Germany?" And I was like, or she was like, "You're going to Europe?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Germany." And she was like, "Oh wow, that's really far."
That's
but
crazy.
It was she what she said actually kind of really helped me out after that, because she was like, "Well, if you think about it, you've already been far away for a while now."
Yeah.
And because it was like directly after Christmas. It was directly after Christmas, and she was like,
"Wow, dude."
Because I got in Germany January 14, 2018. That was the day that I arrived in Germany.
That's crazy.
It's funny that I remember that.
Yeah, because I want to say I was moving to Canada at that time.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
So she was like, if you think about it, you've already been away from home for this long.
Yeah.
You got to see your family.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to get to see your family and your friends again in a year, come time, as long as nothing happens.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, they don't charge for emergency leave. So if something bad happens, you go home. It's not going to impact if you go. Well, I say that they don't charge. They normally don't charge for emergency leave, because if something bad happens, they understand.
Of course.
Because people like to make out like the Army as a whole as like as a monster when it comes to like being sticklers about like time that you owe them and whatnot. But, But she's like, the time that you're gonna spend there is gonna fly by. I promise you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now thinking about it after that, and now that I'm finally back, how true that really was,
dude. Yeah.
Like
it feels like so much like in the moment, but then now you're looking back at it like, wow, it feels like no time.
I'm a goddamn time traveler.
The only time that actually like felt like it dragged on was literally the last like 5 months.
Oh, of course.
That was the only.
Once you see the light in the tunnel, it's hard.
It's so much like everything moves so much slower, man.
I totally understand that. Yeah.
But it was just great, and because I got to, because sadly enough I don't have my passport. Get your passports, guys. If you don't have your passport, get your passport.
As a person who has traveled out of the country, your passport lasts 10 years, dude. Just get it. You will not regret it. Less than $100, it's so worth it.
Oh yeah.
At least from what I remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's still 10 years. Because
at least mine's still valid for 10 years, and I got mine at 18, I think. No, sorry, 17.
Yeah, because I remember, I went to church the other day. I was at church in the morning, and what was it? Because I was there with my grandma and her. I guess I'll just say her boyfriend. Yeah. They're not married or whatever.
Yeah.
My grandma's a playboy.
Yeah.
But one of her friends, she was like, "Do you have your passport?" Because my grandma, she loves harping about me going to Germany because
of course it's
well no, it's because she also went to Germany too.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's cool.
What was it? My great grandfather fought in World War II.
Really?
And he was during the Korean War. He was stationed in Germany.
Wow, dude!
And
talk about keeping a family legacy going.
Right. And then my grandma, she was obviously there whenever whenever my great grandfather was there. But then again, she got married, and her husband was stationed in Germany for a short period of time. And that's actually
your family in Germany,
right? Well, I mean, with my last name,
it's
German already. So, that was funny enough. That's if I remember right. I'm pretty sure that's where my Uncle Kevin was actually born. I think he was born in Germany. I may be wrong. Like, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
My uncle was stationed.
My
in Germany.
uncle was born in Germany. Dakota,
I think
2021.
What?
I've quoted you.
What was it again?
Oh my God!
My uncle was born in Germany.
But and then my mom, she was never stationed in Germany because she was National Guard. But I don't mess with National Guard. It's a different boat.
Different boat.
If you want to make fun of the Natty Guard, do one of the ones.
Natty Guard.
That's what we call them.
Yeah.
Either that or the Weekend Warriors.
Let's not start any fire on the podcast.
Oh,
I know.
It's all love and joy.
It's all fun. It's all good fun.
Yeah. But like for real, like do not mess with like.
Oh yeah.
I don't mess with the Florida National Guard. I don't mess with the Louisiana National Guard. And I think it's I want to say California's National Guard. Those three.
Really.
The reason why California is because all the forest fires and everything that have been going on.
Dude.
Because they've been getting activated for that too.
Crazy.
So like, and then for Louisiana and Florida because
hurricanes. Yeah.
Hurricanes,
buddy.
Dude, like my mom, she got activated during Katrina.
Dang.
Yeah, and whenever my mom likes to say, "Oh yeah, I spent time in Germany too," because she was in Germany in an airport in transit.
Nice.
To either I can't remember if it was Afghanistan or Iraq.
Oh no!
But she was she was going on deployment.
Yikes!
And I remember because my mom was like, "I spent some time in Germany too."
Yeah.
I was like, "You spent maybe a weekend to
a
week."
I was going to say you spent less than 24 hours with them.
Like you spent a little bit of time compared to the 3 years that I spent. 5 minutes
does not count.
So okay, before we got to get wrapping up pretty soon. So how do you have any more questions you want to ask or anything in particular you want to say?
He's kept me well enough informed.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any questions?
So I don't think we talked about this so far, but I think I remember vaguely. You said you worked on helicopters. Was what you did?
Yeah.
Okay. And you just were you did like mechanic work there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the rough of it is like I don't like repair parts.
Yeah.
I basically like if a part's broken, I take said part off.
Yeah.
And I put a new part on it. Like I put a brand new part on it.
Yeah.
Or so a part that's been refurbished already.
Yeah.
That's already been like certified. Like it's good.
Designated switcher.
Yeah. the designated switcher.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, most mechanics, that's pretty much what they are.
Yeah, you're right.
That's pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
I rarely ever see a mechanic fix things.
And do you? I guess you're not wrong there. So and like, did you have like a title? Was that what was that considered?
So my actual like Army title. So like the MOS is a 15 uniform, or 15U. That's the actual like designation for it. But it is, the title and name is a CH-47 maintainer or a Chinook maintainer. So like I work on like the biggest helicopter that the Army has.
Wow.
It's not the biggest helicopter in the military.
Of course, yeah.
But
there's always a bigger fish.
Oh, there's always a bigger fish. Don't joke about my aircraft. I like calling it a flying fish already.
Oh, really?
Because Chinook.
Like a sky whale?
Well, no, because
you see the fucking super choppers.
Chinook tunas.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I was just like, it's a flying tuna.
That's crazy. But yeah, that's cool. I didn't know if it was like, you had some kind of special title for all that kind of stuff. I know everyone has a name. Or
it's a little bit weird because technically my job gets split off into two categories.
Okay.
So there's the actual maintainer, and then there's a flight engineer.
Okay.
And the flight engineer, those are the guys that actually fly up with it.
Nice.
We just call them FEs, stuff like that.
I so badly want to get my pilot's license.
Dude,
I need to start working on that.
So many people, because I'm military, and especially because I'm in aviation, I hang out and I talk with pilots so often, especially in Germany. It was so much more relaxed than what I hear in the States.
Oh, of course. What is it? I can't remember all the terms.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Airspace.
Yeah.
Airspace is very weird around here.
So, like, it's like customs and courtesies. Like, you have to like really
Oh, you gotta get that. Yeah.
So it was a lot more relaxed where I was, but I was able to be friends with a lot of the pilots. I'm still friends with one of the pilots. Like he's super cool.
That's awesome.
I
just want to like personally, I want to be able to fly small planes, like just like to get my feet wet, kind of. But like I would like to fly a bush plane.
Yeah.
Like just something real simple, or even like a little small jet or something. I would love to possibly one day work for like a commercial airline. I think that'd be really cool. I just know that takes a lot of years of.
Oh yeah. So like from what I learned about that, because that's technically something I don't want to mislead people.
Of course,
My job, I work on rotary wings, not fixed wings. So like there's some similarities, but there's massive differences too. So like but typically like the whole like system of it, same. Yeah. It's pretty much the same. It's just you got to think like with fixed wing, it's a little bit more precise.
Mm-hmm.
It's all precise because
it's an aircraft.
Yeah, it's an aircraft. Exactly. So like you're in charge of people's lives.
Of course.
But when it comes to piloting's a lot different.
Of course.
And my recommendation, like if you want to actually like focus on like piloting and stuff, like first of all, ask someone that, or like have like someone tutor you in a sense.
Oh, of course.
Because that's what in the Army what we do. Like if you want to become a warrant officer, if you want to become a flying warrant, you would have a warrant officer sponsor you, and like they would.
Oh wow.
They would like give you the
show you the ropes.
Show you the ropes of it, and then like they would like sponsor you into doing like programs, courses, and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I could see like during the civilian side, if you want to do like doing the small planes, like the bush planes and stuff like that, like do the same thing. Have people that already have their license and stuff, have been flying for years, have them do that, because from what I've seen in like the civilian side, it's still the same where you want to make that gradual progression up.
Of course.
Like you said jets, so I would,
I know what
I don't want to,
and I'm not talking about like
a turbine,
747 type stuff. I'm talking like I want to work my way up to possibly do like private jet type stuff.
Yeah,
where I can get contracted out to be the pilot for.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that. Like as much as like people like kind of like fear the progression, like there is a steady progression up to that point. Yeah, it's just they don't really realize it. Like you go from like a bush plane, then you go to a stunt plane, then you go a little bit bigger.
And that's what I know that, and I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to like.
It's really cool actually getting to see like that progression in people, and though funny enough, I love it whenever people like try and do the walking warrant in the Army.
Yeah,
or not the flying warrant. That's a whole other story. But the flying warrants, they're like, oh yeah, I want to get to fly Chinook. I want to get to fly Chinook. And then
you can't just go.
It's not your choice. It's not your choice.
I got a secret. You can't just decide that.
It's real estate.
Nice.
But more than like, granted though, like a lot of people like they're still cool with whatever they end up with, but because my side of like being a maintainer going to a flyer, most of our maintainers they want to fly Chinooks because we all know like our birds are more reliable than others.
Of course.
Like it's not like anything bad mouthing.
I put this thing together, I want to fly.
Right. Also that's scary because
of course you're like I
know who is working on it.
Yes.
But it's actually like because it's more statistically proven that like the Chinook it lasts longer because it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So like if you think about the Apache's fuel tank isn't that big, first of all. So it can only fly for so long.
Yeah.
Same goes with the Blackhawk, stuff like that.
Of course,
like they can only fly for so long. The reason why the Chinook's a little bit more reliable is because it's designed for long distance flying.
Wow.
So like we don't measure in like gallons and stuff when it comes to the fuel. We measure in pounds.
Really?
The tanks hold 6,000 pounds combined.
Wow.
So it's just like it can fly for a while, and then on top of that, we normally put in an extended fuel range tank in it, which is like I think if I remember like a maximum of an additional 1,000 pounds.
Jeez, man.
So like
okay. So were you able to take some of the stuff you learned while you were in the military, like and bring it back here, like as far as like?
So
I know it's again.
Yeah. So how that works is like I can't get a civilian job just based off of the fact that, hey, I worked on Chinooks while I was in the military.
Yeah.
I have to get a specific license. Granted, as much as I would wish for it. The Army does not pay for it. You have to pay for it.
Of course.
But it's called an AMP license. And pretty much at that point you can work on any rotary wing helicopter.
Nice.
Outside the military, and it's a license you got to renew, but it takes some time.
Yeah, but but I guess your qualifications.
Yeah, so it basically means like you can work on anything for it. So it kind of like you kind of get the knowledge for everything.
Yeah, the free pass or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, but they also like you have to fill out like a test.
Yeah,
and the test has the knowledge for everything, and you have to answer like. If I remember right, it's like 90% or like 95% of the questions correct, or you fail.
Yikes!
Like you have to.
You got it. Yeah, you know.
Like you have to know it because it's really important stuff.
Crazy.
But yeah.
Awesome. Well, you have anything else you want to say, Dylan?
I beat Super Robot Wars tonight.
Oh man, dude, you've been playing that game for a hot minute.
Oh yeah, I stretched that shit out over months.
Dude, how does it feel now that you've finished it?
It was really funny getting to actually see that finally come to an end.
It was beautiful.
It was satisfying. I watched the end of it.
Yeah, it's one of the best games I've played in a while.
Wow, really?
Of course, it doesn't help the fact that it's got like every single fucking mech.
Oh yeah,
that I love in it.
Not, it doesn't help that it's also like your niche.
It's
if
like it was
a
made
niche
for me, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how about we just
beautiful.
Well, anything else you want to say before we head out, Dakota?
Just thank you guys. Like it was really nice to actually get to
be
a part of this finally, because I've known that this has been a thing for a long time, and I was just like, man, I know that it's been so hard with me being in Germany, and I was just like, I really want to be a part of this, and then hopefully now I might end up being able to be a part of it a little bit more, because now at least I'm in the same time zone.
Of course.
It's just like I had to do it like virtually.
Yes,
I will still try.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you guys for listening so much. This has been a real treat for me.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, for any of you out there who are also in the military as well, just know that we all appreciate you, all your hard work, whether it's the littlest things to the biggest things. You know, there's so many people that are doing so much more than I think even I am. So just know that goes to you too, Dakota, as well. Like I said, all the stuff that goes on. But anyways, if you're looking for us, you can look for us. We have a link tree /Ian Wolf. You can find all of our social media links there, or where you can find us.
And if you really want to find us, you won't.
We have we're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify at The Aftermath. And until next time, we're going to be watching, like we said, for probably the 4th week in a row,
Hyunsense 2.
I hope you guys are ready. We're really hyping this movie up.
Oh, yes.
I hope it's good.
It better be. Otherwise, this podcast is done for.
Anyways.
See ya.
Bye-bye.